So I've been imagining what it feels like to be in Ukraine right now. Imagine the state of helplessness and vulnerability. You're on your own and trouble just walks through your doorstep. It's just not any trouble. It's the type that overwhelms you and reduces you to nothing. The type that leaves you naked and feeling hopeless, helpless, and useless. The type of trouble that degrades your defenses easily and exposes you to the world as a lightweight. This is the picture of Ukraine right now. Ukraine is at war. And there came a messenger unto Job and said, the oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding beside them. And the Sabians fell upon them and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the fire of God is fallen from heaven, and had burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the Chaldeans made out 3 bands and fell upon the camels, and have carried them away. Yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness and smote the 4 corners of the house. And it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head, and fell down upon the ground and worshipped, and said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return hither. The Lord gave, and the Lord had taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. There are a lot of us living our Ukraine right now. Your life has just imploded overnight. A set of misfortunes has rocked your world, and you just can't see tomorrow. I get a lot of messages from some of you, and they sometimes rattle me. I am at a loss for words as I immediately begin to imagine what it must feel like to live a day in your shoes. Troubles are different, so please understand what I'm talking about. There's trouble and there is trouble. You wake up one day and your health starts degrading, and nobody can tell you what is wrong with you. Imagine those who had wares in next cash and carry when you got burnt, or those whose shops, homes, or places of business got burnt or demolished by a government agency. Losing a job is akin to living in Ukraine for some. What of a series of deaths in the family? It might not be your story, but it is the story of someone around you. Have you for once considered what it feels like to live in northeast Nigeria and be at the mercy of terrorists day and night? Their stories are untold. What of those who have children who have been in the den of kidnappers for months? They have been abandoned by government, family, and friends. And you have those in southeast Nigeria. Businesses are collapsing. People are living their worst nightmare as they don't know who is friend or foe. Ukraine is happening all around us, guys. And the worst thing about Ukraine is that America will not fight for you. America is the arm of flesh. America is that person who you always expect that last they have your back, or they can at least help you some way, somehow, because of your perception of them or relationship with them. America are the friends of Job, lent in advice but no action to back it. Ukraine now stands defenseless, now at the mercy of a rampaging Russia. This is the crisis many are going through. This was the story of Job. One day all was okay, and the next day calamity reigned on him. You start questioning yourself. You start investigating your ancestors. You start canceling ancestral curses. You start visiting orphanages. You start being nicer. You start fasting and praying, all to no avail. Then You begin to question God, and many start doubting if God is even real. Why me, you ask? Why me? Why me is one question that never gets answered. If not you, who? Me? Do you see why that question stays unanswered? Dear people of Ukraine, your morning will yet come. Child of God, your morning will surely come. Affliction is but for a moment. Look back and remember that you have been afflicted before, and each time God came through for you. Why me is answered in eternity. Eternity is God's solution and master plan for man. Focus on eternity and Ukraine becomes bearable. Focus on eternity and you no longer worry about the outcome of the war. All wars must end, but eternity is forever. Focus on eternity. In concluding, let me say this. Wars are replete with stories of heroism. People do the unthinkable in times of war and adversity. Champions emerge from battles. They do abnormal things that move the hand of God. Job 42:10 tells us that God turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends. Most people in his situation wouldn't have done the same. It was an act of the purest love and selflessness that showed Job had entered into a deeper understanding of who God is. It moved God. Do you know that Job got double for his trouble? Do you know that all those whose hearts were hardened towards Job gathered to give gifts to him when God turned his captivity around? God is in the trouble. There's a message in this mess. Ukraine is a place to discover God. Ukraine is a place to show the world that you know God and will abide in Him. Come rain, come shine, come missiles, come what may, we will abide in God. God bless you all.